Okay, Alan, we are live now.
Okay.
I'm making you host back. You can make me the co-host.
Okay. I'll stop that. Come on. More. Oh, wait, I have to go to you. What am I doing here? Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Have a great session.
Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. We'll get started in a minute. And this is self-healing through touch. So, hi, looking around at familiar faces and some new ones. Ah, good, very good, very good. All right. All right. So I'm Ellen Shapiro. This is self-healing through touch. And we are being recorded and we are also on the live stream. So welcome to everyone who is present in our class and anyone that may be jumping in and watching on the live stream today. So in this self-healing through touch class, what we're doing is we're going over different topics, health and self-care topics every week. And I'm showing you different things that you can do with the simplest tools that you have, which is basically your hands, sometimes your breath or the power of your imagination. No fancy equipment or high tech is needed here. This is very low tech and very much handy, practical, in the moment self-help. That's what these classes have been about. So we've covered a number of different topics in these weeks, and as we go along, or if you have ideas for other topics, you can post that in the chat as we go along or send them to me afterwards. And, you know, or just, there'll be some points where I'll stop and ask for questions, and you can also just add anything at that time. All right. So a little bit about me. So I've been teaching on Get Set Up since the beginning of this year, and have had the blessing to be able to share Qigong, Ageless Grace. These are movement classes, and now other knowledge that I have around healing and touch. So that's what I'm doing in this class. And if you come to Qigong, you'll see some overlap because Qigong is Chinese medicine. And we're going to talk quite a bit about acupressure in today's class. And acupressure is a form of Chinese medicine. It comes from, it's very much related to acupuncture, except acupuncture uses needles, and you know, you definitely need some training in how to do acupuncture. Acupressure is simpler, it's non-invasive, it's a very handy self-help tool. And I noticed when I was researching for this class that acupressure is, there's articles by like the Cleveland Clinic, the Mayo Clinic, mainstream Western medicine is even suggesting acupressure points. And part of the reason is they're simple and they're very effective. Again, nothing here is intended as a substitute for medical attention when that's what you need, or you've got a serious condition, or you think you might. This is again in the realm of self-help. Simple things you can do to feel better, to deal with an acute situation, like something just comes up, or a chronic condition that you need some more help with. So that's what we're doing here in this class. And today's topic is going to be focusing on working with your sinuses and seasonal allergies. And so depending on where you live and the season, you might even be having that right now. And sometimes people have it like earlier in the spring or in the fall. It depends on what's in your environment and what you're reacting to. But if you've ever had that, you know it's no fun. Like I never had seasonal allergies until I moved here to New Mexico. And it didn't start right away. It was here after I was here a few years, I started developing pollen allergies to certain things that are very prevalent here in the spring, like juniper pollen and certain like tree pollens. And until then, I didn't really understand the misery that allergies can create for somebody. Um, so that's what we're going to be focusing on here today. And my background, besides being a Qigong and movement teacher, is I'm a holistic practitioner. I started out with polarity therapy back in the late 80s when still it's not very well known. Nobody knew what it was back then. Nobody even knew what Reiki was back then. And kind of went on from there. And I've always been interested in holistic health. And even before that, like I experimented with macrobiotics, certain way of eating in my 20s. So I've always been kind of health oriented. And I guess my parents weren't like big believers in running to the doctor all the time. They really wanted us to learn how to stay healthy on our own. They didn't know a lot of things I learned, they didn't know because they didn't grow up with that information. And we know a lot more now than we used to. But again, this idea of there's just a lot that we can do to improve our lives in every way, and this is a simple way. All right, so seasonal allergies, and you probably, if you have them or have had them, or you know somebody who has, I don't have to tell you what the symptoms are, but the typical things are a lot of sneezing, sometimes coughing, a runny nose, or itchy eyes. That's the one I get, and that's really, I can just rub my eyes for like a long time and not get any relief because it's from the allergies. I have to deal with that. And what is an allergy? It's a hypersensitive response from the immune system when something, which we call an allergen, the thing that stimulates the allergic reaction, enters into or comes into contact with the body. And this is what I'm emphasizing here is on sinuses and seasonal allergies. There's a whole other realm of food allergies, and people can be allergic to a lot of other things too. But that's kind of different because that's, even though it's an allergic response and we're dealing with inflammation and the immune response, a food allergy is more like something that you're taking in. And with that, the most important thing is finding out what you're allergic to and eliminating it from your diet. This seasonal allergies are more about responding to environmental things. And so things we can't control, okay, maybe you can stay in your house and run a bunch of air filters, but other than that, it's pretty hard to avoid allergens that are in the air, right? Or that get into our environments. And let me just pause here because I launched right into the topic with no orientation. Sorry. So we are on Get Set Up here. We have our teaching assistant, Nancy, is here to assist with any kind of technical issues. As we're going through the class, you are welcome to post a question in the chat. And she can also queue up any questions for me. So I'll talk for a while. I pause, take some questions and answer those, and we go forward like that. Yeah, so I'll just be going through the information here, sharing about sinus and seasonal allergies, teaching you some points that you can do on yourself to help. And we'll finish with a guided imagery, and just kind of letting yourself relax and go into a healing mode. And for that part, it's just listening, quiet listening. Okay, so going back to allergies and hypersensitive responses, and what the most common allergy triggers are grasses, pollen, and mold. There can be other things too, but those are the main things. And the timing and severity of an allergy season varies depending on where you live and also your response to the allergen. And some things like here, we do get some snow in the winter. And if we get a lot of snow, then the pollen is just better. If we don't get a lot of snow, it seems like the trees release their pollen sooner or more intensively. So climate conditions can, of course, affect one season could be worse than another, or the timing of it could be a little later, again, depending on the weather and how the plants are growing and all of that. So what can you do about this? And again, we'll go into more on the specific acupressure points, but basically the principles are: one, minimize your exposure wherever you can. You can also do things that desensitize your system. So it's your immune system is responding to something. So we can try and eliminate the thing we're responding to or minimize contact with it. We can also desensitize so we don't react as strongly to it. And if you've heard of or even taken allergy shots, or what's also called immunotherapy, that is an example of that. People get these allergy shots, which expose you in little small doses to the allergen itself, and it stimulates the body's response, but eventually the body learns to tolerate it. That kind of thing, you definitely need to go to a doctor or nurse practitioner, medical person. Other things that we might do are all those over-the-counter things that suppress or reduce the symptoms, and prescription nasal drops, things like I won't mention brand names, but there's all kinds of allergy medicines that you can get over the counter. And since I've had allergies, I've learned more about it. And part of that is finding which one works for you. And also the problem with a lot of allergy medications is they can make you sleepy. So if you're going that route, and believe me, I mean, I'm very holistic, but there were times when the symptoms were I just couldn't deal with it. It was really interfering with my life. So I would take something from over the counter. I'm not, dogmatic about it. And other things we can do so this is an allergy is an immune response. So you can strengthen your immune system through most of our immune system is actually in our gut. So making sure that you have like healthy gut flora, taking probiotics, supplements like vitamin C, and a class of things called bioflavonoids like quercetin help with allergies. Also, vitamin D is helpful, and getting enough sunshine. All these things support the immune system, which is the part of our body that has to deal with the allergy. And then we can also, so there's an allergen, it comes in, the body has this allergic response to it, which is an inflammatory response. So we get irritation, red eyes, itchy nose, we get discharges. Those are inflammatory responses. So we can reduce or even short circuit, like interrupt. So it's a whole cycle. There's like a cycle. So like one of the things I learned after years was, okay, when it starts to be allergy season, I have to get on it right away with whatever I'm doing over the counter, or I take some natural things, my acupressure, my qigong, whatever I'm doing, step it up in the beginning before I get into this. It's like the allergic cycle. Once you're in it, it's harder to kind of cut it down. So that's why I say short-circuiting the inflammatory response. Okay, so let's talk more about acupressure here. And I will be screen sharing from some notes, which I will cut and paste into. There's a link, there'll be a link and just a little summary in your notes from the class that you get automatically. And of course, you can request the recording of the class. So when we use acupressure, for allergies, it's not necessarily going to cure your allergy entirely, but can give you relief from symptoms. And again, this is to keep you functioning, have your life working better, because if you've ever had a really stuffy nose where you can't breathe, or your eyes are burning all the time, or you're sneezing a lot, it's more than an inconvenience, right? It's just can really get in the way. So acupressure, how it works is by stimulating acupoints, and an acupoint is basically what's used for acupuncture and for acupressure. So when we use acupressure, we're using finger pressure to stimulate acupoints along the energy carrying channels or meridian pathways of the body. The stimulation comes in the form of like a firm but gentle pressure. So when we get to it, I'll show you, but you're basically firm, but you're not trying to like take your finger and like stick it in like it's a needle. You're just using some firm pressure in one place, or you can also kind of roll your finger like over the area. And what this can do, working these acupressure points, is just treat a number of things: stress and anxiety, reducing allergy symptoms, alleviating migraines, nausea, and more. So again, just knowing where to press. And if you've been to this class a number of times, you're going to see there's some points that keep coming up, which is cool because it's saying this point, maybe it's good for headaches, but guess what? It's also good for allergies. That's awesome. And the whole idea behind this class is giving you a toolkit of pressure points that you know about and you can use either regularly, like let's say you're going through allergy season. Maybe you do this several times a day. Some of these things are like maybe you get a headache just, hopefully not too often, but once a month or every 2 months. Then you pull out your notes from that class and just, okay, here's the points for the headache. Okay. What else? All right. All right, so there's a diagram here. I'll share the screen in a second, which shows a number of points on this, on this model. And, any of these can be helpful. You don't have to do all of them. Maybe one or two is all you need to do the trick. So this whole thing is pretty flexible and adaptable. And I encourage you to try it out for yourself, first as we're going through class and then later on your own. So let me get this document up here. And while I'm doing that, if there are any questions, you can either type them in the chat or speak them out loud. And let's see, I need to get into Dropbox. Here we go. Okay. All right, and now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here you go. Right. All right, so let's just take a look at this image first here. What's going on here? Here. Let me scroll down. All right. So let's look at point A, and hopefully that's large enough for you to see. It's just right here, kind of just, here's my collarbone. So it's just kind of right above it and a little bit out from the center. Points A there. And so the Chinese, these are acupressure and acupuncture points. The Chinese have some very interesting names, metaphors, and poetic names for the points. This is called elegant manching. And it says here, this is located in the hollow spot between your collarbone and your breastbone. So it actually is just below the collarbone down there. So let's just do a little bit and let's practice our acupressure techniques. So first, just hold your fingers right there. I'm using my thumb and index finger, and it doesn't really matter, just whichever fingers reach. And you can first just hold and press into the point and breathe. The other thing you can do is massage, but like a typical massage is where you're gliding. We're not really gliding around, we're just kind of over the point and like just kind of like moving the flesh underneath your finger. You can go in a little semicircle like that, or up and down, or side to side, stimulating the point, and also relax and take a nice deep breath. All right, so as it says right here, and I could tell because I immediately, it helped me open my breath up, can help relieve chest congestion, breathing difficulties, asthma, coughing, and a sore throat. So any of those things could be allergy symptoms, or it could just be your chest is congested because you have a cold or something else. So that's the elegant mansion point. All right, our next point is crooked pond, point B. And it's on the outside of your arm, just above your elbow crease. So let's look at that. Outside the arm, just above. So here's my arm, my elbow, and just above my elbow crease on the outside. It's actually a little bit sore on me. So this is on the thumb side. So if you just take your finger and go up the thumb and up the side of the arm, and then to the side of the elbow there, just above the crease into your upper arm, and pressing there. Okay, that was crooked pond. Let's see what that was for. Okay, so this is good for inflammation like hives, rashes, and itching. It can also help bring down a fever. So isn't that handy? Okay, and for points like this where you need one hand to do one side, switch it up. So let's do the other arm with the other hand. Yeah, I'm surprised at how tender that is, but I think there's still some allergens around that are bothering me right now. It's mild. All right, so those were the first 2 points. The next one is called the Sea of Energy, located about an inch below your belly button. So that's really simple. And this point is good for relieving any allergies that might be causing digestive issues like constipation and gas. It can also work well for fatigue, weakness, and insomnia. So again, just go about an inch right down from your belly button, and you can use, your index, 2 fingers, your thumb, whatever you like there. And again, for this one, I would press a little bit and then I would start rotating the fingers. So the fingertips don't actually move, but it's like your fingers are rotating around on the fingertip. Hope you can follow that. And let's just go up and look at the diagram again. Yeah, it's just right there. Okay. The next point, point D, is the 3-mile point, and this has come up several times in the classes. I even used this one in the Qigong class. And where it is, if you can see, just below the knee, and if the bone, right? So you've got the main bone there, and then you go out away from the center midline to the side of the leg slightly. It's still pretty much on the front of the leg. Okay, and let's learn more about that point here. So again, 3-mile point, stomach 36. They describe it here as the outside of your leg, 4 finger widths below your kneecap. So just take your fingers, do them sideways, right? Where am I in the camera? Can't see myself. Okay, right, 4 fingers, put the top finger, like your index finger, on your kneecap, and then 4 finger width down is where the point is, and then you go a little bit out towards the side. So it says stimulating this point will strengthen your immune system and prevent allergies before they hit. So isn't that great? It's good to know about that. So let's say it's getting to be that time of year, or you suspect that it's, allergies are starting to kick up. Start doing this point. This point is also really good for fatigue and for giving you more energy. So multi-purpose, right? And for this one, because you only need one hand on one side, this one, it's easy to do them both at the same time. Okay. The name of this point is bigger rushing. It describes the top of your foot right between your big toe and your second toe. Let's take a look at that. So you can see, again, it's on the top of the foot, and it's below the toe, like onto the top of the foot. And for this one, you might need to just either bend over or put your foot up on a stool so you can reach it. That's what I'm doing right now. And let's just press. And this one, again, because I have my foot up, I'm only going to do one at a time. If you were able to reach both at the same time, you could do that too. So just get your finger, whichever finger, I'm using my middle finger, put it between the big toe and the second toe, and come down onto the foot slightly, and just pressing in there, breathing. It just feels really good to me. If any of these points are really sore on you, that you could have some stagnation, some blocked energy there. And some points are just naturally more sensitive than others. All right, so for this one, this can help with allergic reactions, and particularly good for relieving bloodshot eyes and neuromuscular disorders. So I'm not quite sure what neuromuscular disorders, how that's connected with allergies, but that's what it says here. So, all right, let's switch up and do the other foot. So this class also gives you a little acupressure treatment, right? Okay, so reaching that same point on the other foot between the first and second toe and slightly down onto the foot. Now this one's really sore on me for some reason. And then just doing your best to relax and breathe. Now I'm feeling very relaxed and sleepy. Maybe you are too. So you can let go of that point. Take a minute. Let's just do a little quick check-in and see how you're feeling right now. And for yourself, you can share this with the class too if you want to. Was there any point that felt especially good for you, or just from the description was like something that you might really want to keep in mind? And yeah.
I liked all of them.
Oh, good, good. Yeah. So questions or other sharing about that, or anything else you'd like to ask on these topics here? And I actually, yeah, go ahead.
Can you show us the arm one again, which above
Sure.
the,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
then on the
So
Yeah,
just take a finger, trace up from your thumb, and kind of go up the side of the arm there and take that along to the kind of outside part of your elbow, slightly above it. So, you know, the place where usually they give you a blood test, they take a needle in the middle of your arm. You just go out to the side a little bit more and then slightly above the crease. So I don't know if how well you can see that on me.
oh, on the inside.
I'll show you on the diagram too. Yeah, it's not, let's see if I can make this bigger. Okay,
Oh,
so can you see it now?
I was going on the outside. It's on the inside.
It's actually on the outside.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's why I'm
Yeah,
getting
let me take a look at that. Yeah, it's, again,
looks like it's on the inside.
it's actually a little hard to tell on this, isn't it? Let's see, wait, whoops.
Go in and out.
Well, the verbal description of it though, let's go back to that. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. All right, that was point B, and
Never been brought to my attention.
It's the thumb side of your arm.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on a minute, everybody. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, I can't figure that out right now. What does it say? Where's the description?
As you know, it is still open. Is that correct? Yes. Then I can't proceed with this case because.
Okay, hold on a second, because somebody's got their TV on and we don't want to hear your TV. Okay. Got rid of that. Let me go back to screen sharing. And just, you know, you're going to get a lot more out of this class if you have your TVs off. Maybe somebody else is watching, not you, but just the teacher in me has to say that. Okay. Now I've got all kinds of weird things on the screen that I don't want. I hide that, thank you. Please hide that. Dropbox, stop it. That is so annoying. What's going on here? All right, well, thank God, I have printed out notes because the screen display is being ridiculous. Okay, the verbal description says it's on the outside of your arm, just above your elbow crease. So to me, let's see, if I let what is the inside of your arm, right? To me, that would be like if I take my hand and I come up my palm, up the inside of my arm, the part that's kind of like closer to the center of my body. To me, that's the inside. The outside would be the edge that's more on the thumb side and coming up. So, okay. Thank you for that question. Other questions or reflections on anything? And I realized too that I didn't include it in the notes, but I wanted to give you some points for the sinuses. They're very simple. I'll just show them to you right now. So the first one is where you just come like with your index finger and that little crease just on the outside edge of your nose. Just right on the edge, could be slightly under the nostril or on the side. And if you are having congested sinuses, you'd feel this one right away. It can be a little bit painful. Again, we're not like digging in like really hard, but it's firm pressure. You can also just like, again, stretch the skin a little. So see, I'm not really moving the fingers. They're just stretching the structures underneath. So that's a good point. And, you know, it's also if you want to scare your grandchildren, just, you know. Okay, the other point is very close, very similar, and you can use your thumbs or your index finger and just coming in just right in that corner of your, you know, the socket, your eye socket, just in the corner there and up towards your eyebrow. And that, I did this, I remember working on a friend of mine doing some body work many years ago. She was having a crazy time with pollens and stuff. I stayed on this point for like 10 minutes. It's very intense for her, but it really, everything opened up. So this is very powerful, not the most pleasant one. And you don't, again, you don't have to be hard, but you do want a firm pressure. What can also feel nice for sinuses is just continue that movement now. So just kind of massage or glide your fingers right under your eyebrow, right along the edge of the bone there. That can feel really good. You can come all the way around, go underneath, along the edge of the eye socket. And actually, I don't know, I guess you could do acupressure. I've seen acupuncturists do, like they'll do points all along what we just, that whole pathway there to open up the sinuses and the eyes. One other thing that you can do, it's not acupressure, this comes from reflexology, is for sinuses, is work the tips of your toes or your fingers. So like, I'll just show you with a finger here. So I'm going to take my other hand, my thumb and index finger, and I'm just kind of on top of it, massaging, pressing in to the very tip of the finger. And then you would go, you know, go through all the fingers. So pressing, you can rub a little bit, do all the fingers and do both sides. So then you do the other hand. So you can use your fingertips and you can do the same thing right on the tips of your toes. And they're pretty easy to reach for most people. So again, just take your fingers and like make a little pinch sort of at the top of the very top and going down on each toe. Those are sinus reflexes. Ow. I'm sore on that toe. Okay, and if you haven't done it yet, you can do the other foot. And if you've ever had like sinus, a really clogged up sinus, it's can be, I mean, a headache can be painful or pressured, but it can also just leave you like you're sort of in this, it's like your head is stuck in a cloud and it's all fuzzy. And when it starts to clear up, it's such a relief. It's like, oh, I can breathe. I feel like I've got space in my head now instead of being all clogged up. So, and if you're not having any symptoms, still, these are all, beneficial, and they open up the meridian pathways. So any of these points that you like, or that you like, think that one would really be handy, you can make this part of your toolkit or make it part of your regular self-care. Yeah, so let's just stop again and see if there are other questions. I will look in the chat.
Is it better to do
Interesting.
that in the evening or in the morning? Or all day?
Oh, I don't think it matters. Like, if you wake up feeling congested, do it then. If your congestion builds up during the day, maybe just do it when you notice symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're doing something as a prevention, then what I would say is do it. Find the time of day when it's easiest for you to fit it in and to remember it. For a lot of people, that is the morning. And some people have like very busy mornings, and it's like maybe midday before lunch, or another good time I find for any kind of self-care practice would be late afternoon, or like right before dinner, or right before bed. So I don't think there's a set answer to that, but yeah. Question, which was the one for the headaches? Okay, let's go over that again. I don't have them all memorized. Let's see. I think it was the first one. No, the first one was for the chest congestion. Headaches, let's see. That's weird. I know we talked about that, but it's not seeing it in the notes. It's very strange. Does anybody else remember? Because I know I mentioned it, and yet it's not in the notes.
You had it last week, and I think it was in the back of your neck at the base of the.
Right. That was definitely one of the headache ones,
Yeah.
but I didn't mention it today, and it's not on this diagram. So I'm sorry. Gonna have to listen to the recording again, I guess, or let me know if you want the one, because I did a whole presentation on headaches another time, and that was one of them. That was a good one. Like, let's just all do that one now. So take your fingers, single or both, bring them just below the skull where you feel the ridge, and pretty close to the middle, but not like on either side of your spine. So it's not right in the middle, about an inch out on either side. And you can lean your head back onto the fingers a little and work in there. That's a really good point. Okay, so you got your answer, even though I really don't understand why it's not here, because I know we did talk about it today too. Okay, let's see what else is in, if there's other questions in the chat. All right, where's the chat? Where did you go? Sometimes these screens, I'm going to stop the share because I can't find the chat. There it is. All right, nothing else there. Other questions or anything else? And yeah, that was interesting, right, Felice?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want this. I'm sorry. Yeah, because sometimes I wake up with congestion and I haven't really had much allergy symptoms because I wear masks still. And all throughout the season, I've been wearing masks when I go out. But
Right.
for some reason in the morning, sometimes I have congestion, either one nostril or the other. And I sneezed a couple of times, but it was no biggie because I didn't feel pressure or anything like I normally feel. But when I
Right.
did that point, it's like everything just got so clear. It's like
Right.
it was like a freshness, a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, I didn't realize I was that congested.
Right. That's great. And that's the thing is, like, we're describing this like okay, if you have strong symptoms and you know about it, that's one thing, but there's this whole level between like a real severe reaction or really being sick and perfect health. And we don't realize sometimes that we're not in the perfect health mode because it's a minor thing, or we're
Yeah.
used to it because we have it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people wake up with mucus, and
Mhm.
so they're so used to it, they think it's normal. And all of a sudden, they hear information or whatever, they decide to change their diet. A common thing that can cause mucus is dairy for a lot of people. Let's say they cut out dairy, no more mucus. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's so many things like that, so, and these points they're just really so handy for that. And again, like, let's say you're not really having allergies, but you feel your head feels a little stuffy, or you just, like feeling sort of unfocused.
Yeah.
Try,
Icky. Yeah.
try the sinus point, and you're like, oh, wow, like my eyes opened up. So,
Exactly. Like I didn't realize it. Like I said, I wake up sometimes congested and I sneeze a couple of times, but it was like no biggie. But not, and I ignored it honestly, but not until I did the point, and I was like, oh my gosh, it felt like it's like a clearness, like air just went through my nostrils.
right. I mean, that's the thing, we're in these bodies all the time. We get used to feeling a certain way. And then if we switch things up, we change the energy, we do something, suddenly we realize, like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but sometimes I'll go to, like, get some body work or massage therapist. And it's only when somebody puts their hands there, they're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize my shoulders were like rocks.
Exactly. Yes. You feel a knot there. And it's like, I have a knot. It's like, I didn't realize a knot was here on my shoulder. Or you're so tense. No, I'm not. And then they touch a
Right.
point. It's like, ouch.
Right. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's not a rock, but it's just, there's a lot of tension, like it's in between. But that's
Yeah.
why, like, touching ourselves is an interesting way of learning more about what's going on inside.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I just find it kind of miraculous that we're walking around with this, like, living organism, this body that is filled with all kinds of messages and information and
Mm-hmm.
things going on, and it's doing it all by itself. Thank you very much. But then, we do something to bring our awareness to it. And it's like, wow, what else do you want to tell me?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So,
That's why I like your classes, and I guess it's a promo for you. I like this, and I like qigong because you get into that inner being, being within yourself. It's like you just feel something different. It's like a feeling you get that you can't explain, and you kind of tap into it, just like yoga. Because one time
yeah,
I was doing yoga when I first did it, I just started tearing, and I'm like, why in the heck am I crying? What am I crying for? And tears just started rolling down my eyes, and I guess I hit something, an emotion within myself. I
right.
didn't know it was there. I either ignored it or whatever. I thought I handled it.
Right. And I mean, that's the thing, that the body, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but I heard it as a body worker, that the issues are in the tissues. So when we
Oh,
can't
okay.
deal with something that's painful or traumatic, or for whatever reason, we don't even know we're doing that. But the
Yes.
body says, okay, this is too much for you. You can't deal with it, or there's nobody around to help you right now. You're feeling scared and alone. It's okay. I'll just take it. I'll just stick it in here. And one
Mm-hmm.
day, maybe you'll get a chance to let it go. The thing
Yes.
is, a lot of times people don't get that chance in our culture because they don't get body work. They don't do healing work. They don't do yoga. They never touch into those things. And unfortunately, and not to scare you, but sometimes those things can lead to illness because they're places that need healing. And the beautiful thing is, we don't have to, and I mean, I'm not saying that's the only reason for illness. I think it's a very complex thing, and it has
Mm-hmm.
to do with many other things, not just emotions or traumas.
Mm-hmm.
But, in psychology, there's there's a scale, it's called adverse childhood experiences of, difficult traumatic things. And what they found is that people who have a high number of these things tend to have a lot more physical illnesses later in their lives. Well, why?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not from the negative point of view, but just to know that by letting things go and doing things that open up these energies that got all stuck in there, we don't have to, it doesn't have to become an illness. It can just become tears or, writing in your journal for a little while or going to see a therapist, but it can come, it can move through, and it can be gone. We don't have to keep carrying it around.
Mm-hmm. It's like a detoxification.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm going to promote your women's class, because I think we as women need to learn our bodies because we go through so much. So I'm promoting that one today to those who haven't attended.
Thank you, Felice. You can be my PR person.
Because I really believe in that, advocating for yourself, especially females, because we have so much going on and we go through so much within our lives and different things. And people just tell you, oh, get used to it. That's the way it happens,
Right.
It's like I had my child. Everything will come back in place. You'll be all right 6 weeks. It's like, no.
Probably not.
Exactly. No, you won't.
Right. But yeah, I'm with you on that. So just to let people know, so I've mentioned my Qigong and movement classes, and we have a new class that is especially for women. And in that we talk about some of the specific things about a woman's body and, the phases of life, menopause, and whether you've had children or not. There's just certain things about our bodies that are different, our hormones. And of course, the psychology of women in this culture and, the many ways we've been taught. Again, keep it in, be good, go along, don't speak up, don't get angry, be agreeable. And it affects our health. It affects everything. So that's the emphasis in that class. So there is Qigong, there is some movement. There's some other things like self-massage. We talk a little bit more in that class. I don't talk about it in my other classes about, keeping your pelvic floor strong. So to avoid incontinence, and just, it helps with a lot of things to have strong muscles there, because they're muscles, just like we work out other things. No, we don't all hear about, well, you can also strengthen your pelvic muscles. Why not? If I can strengthen my arm muscle, I can strengthen that one too. So that's what we do in that class, and that is tomorrow morning. And I also teach Ageless Grace. So that is fun, playful movement for your brain and for your spirit. So let me see other messages. Okay, thank you. Yes, Nancy put all my classes in here. Well, they're not only mine, she has also here chair yoga and Tai Chi, which are taught by other people. And, my classes are great, and there's lots of other great classes. Please check things out. All right, so let's conclude.
I'm going to
here.
write down, Ellen, I'm sorry. I'm going to write down that I would like for your classes to be, maybe in a different time, like instead of being like early morning, it could be like in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, because that will work out for me especially, but, I don't know for others, where they
Right.
feel the same way.
Was
Yeah, we're
that
all
you
at the
speaking, Pat? I don't know.
No,
who-
it's
I
me.
said we're all at different times.
It's Mary.
Oh, okay. Well, you can put in your request. My classes are not all in the morning. My classes are
No.
9
I've
a.m.
taken some
to
classes
10:30.
in the afternoon. Yes, I've taken some of your classes in the afternoon, and they're great. But I wish
Yeah.
that they could have them more instead of just like one or twice during the week, maybe the whole
Well,
week.
Well, I teach, I think I'm up to 6 classes a week. I can't really do too much more than that. As
Okay,
much as I love it. But just check them out, and I'm glad you like my classes, and
I love your
feel
classes.
free to put in
Ron,
suggestions.
I love it too.
I do too. I watched Ty on Tai Chi, and he always recommends watching your class.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's wonderful.
He
That's
does, yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, I'll have to, and I want to check out his too. I mean, I know Tai Chi is wonderful, and I don't know it, so I can't teach it. Yeah, that's great. And really, we're not competing with each other because there's
No.
just lots of people, lots of opportunity, lots of different teachers and styles of learning and different times of day. But of course, any requests for times of day, put them in. We have been looking at whether to make any of the Qigong later in the day. I know for our friends across the pond, that would just be too late for you. But we're trying to, and I want to offer things at a variety of times for people. Also, another thing is like, if you like a class of mine and you just have trouble making it at that time of day, I know it's not quite the same, but you can also just work, listen to the recordings sometimes to kind of, have it at your schedule. So yeah, I appreciate your interest and everybody's enthusiasm. And really, it's just, I love sharing this information. And so we don't have much time left, but let's just do a little guided relaxation and imagery here. So I will do my best to stop right at the hour here. And anyone that needs to go, of course, So for now, just get yourself in a relaxed position. There's nothing to watch visually here, so you can close your eyes. You can lean back in your chair, lie down, as long as you can hear me. And we'll do some healing using the power of our imagery. So once you're in your really relaxed position, you take in a nice deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth with any kind of sound or sigh or breath. Let's do another deep inhale through the nose. Just one more. And we were talking about helping the body let go of stuff. And this is one way to do it, is simply through the sound. Just let it go. And let's work with something called the cleansing breath. So breathing in through the soles of your feet, and that might sound weird. How do you breathe through your feet? But just imagination. Imagine that you could breathe through your feet, and the breath is now moving up through the inside of your legs, up through your torso, and on the exhale, breathing out through your mouth. This is called the cleansing breath. Again, breathing in through the soles of your feet, and imagine that the breath is moving like white light or like a current of water, and it's cleansing your body from the inside out, from the foot up, coming up through the middle of your body and out through your mouth. And this time, as we imagine the cleansing breath moving through the body, up from the feet, imagine now that this breath is traveling all the way up. It's coming out through your mouth, your nose, and even the top of your head. And this time on the inhale, drawing the cleansing breath and the white cleansing light up through the inside of your body, up through your chest, your throat, and now all the way up through your whole face, your sinuses. And now it's blowing out your ears. And as we continue to breathe, we'll use that same imagery of up through the whole center of the body, through the head, out the ears. feeling all your sinuses, your nasal passages, your lungs, the whole inside passage of your body, clearing, cleansing, releasing any kind of mucus or stuck energy. One more of those deep cleansing breaths. And now imagining that water is gently being poured over your body, or you're floating in a bath or a big tub or some nice warm ocean water, or in a spa, wherever you'd like to be. But now you've got all this water and it's just flowing over your body and carrying off anything else that your body is ready to let go of. Tension and worries, toxic stuff, traumatic memories, old emotions. Feel this beautiful healing water cleansing you. The water can be warm or cold or whatever would feel really delicious for you. And as you just relax and float, letting the water just carry it all away, leaving you cleansed, refreshed, relaxed. And then slowly letting the imagery just go and bringing your awareness back into your room, back into this present moment. Yeah, very good. And that's our class for today. So we are at the hour. If anyone has any last comments or questions, and Nancy just put the email address to get the recording, help@getsetup.io. Thank you very much. My pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope you're all feeling good, relaxed, healed.
What
And
time is your class tomorrow morning?
it is at 12:30 Eastern.
And which class is that? Which class is that?
Well, actually, I have two classes, so that's a good question. Qigong is at 11 Eastern. And wait a minute. I got this. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The Women's Healing Qigong is at 11:30. Now, wait a minute. I'm all
I'm
confused.
sorry.
It's 11 o'clock.
Okay, 11
11
o'clock.
o'clock.
Thank you. It's at 11 o'clock. And then I'm teaching Ageless Grace at 12:30 tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
Qigong at 5.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
somebody's memory is working. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's in my schedule.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
You too.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.